Hey guys, and welcome back. Thought it was about time we were due for another video. A few things have been happening since the last video. I did mention that there wasn't a whole lot that I wanted to do preparation wise. Probably lied a little bit since the last video. Just given it a general service, dropped the oil, took the filter off, cut that open, had a look at that. Something that I don't normally do, but just been fussy. I hadn't serviced it since I think the 4th month of 21. It's been sitting around a bit as well. Oil got a bit fuely from just idling and getting put back in the shed. So that was all good. Also had a bit of an issue at the last roll racing, just trying out something different. Instead of building boost on the brake, I was using the rolling boost builder using the 2-step. So I have an isolating or a switch to arm the trans brake. Leaving that off activates the 2-step on the RPM, so I can kind of hold the accelerator flat, build boost ideally quicker, and then go. But it didn't really work any better. It didn't like it. And it had an issue with throwing the factory. I had a factory belt set up on this with a GM tensioner. Just threw the belt off, and it never really had done that before with this new combo. So I hit up Troy at Warspeed, got an alternator only tensioner kit. So it just runs, because I've got an electric water pump. This one is designed to run with like a factory belt setup, so you can still utilize a factory length belt, but have an electric water pump at the same time. So now no belt, only to the alternator, and I've done a few street kilometers now since fitting it, and excellent. What else? Just converting the car tonight from street trim to more race trim. So we'll take the exhaust off. It's only got one muffler under the car from roll racing. It's a little bit loud if I'm honest. All we've got to do really is fit up the side pipe, put the tail shaft loop back on, managed to find all the bolts, luckily for that. Fit the belly pan under the engine, we'll put the trans blanket back on, and the Simpson parachute, which bolts straight up to the factory tow bar, which I used, fitted to the car for drag challenge, just go straight in here, eyelet. Also had some PDR. Done on the car, which I've put off for a long time. Was suggested by a friend that he could get it done through his work, and with the recent hail we've had in Adelaide, he's got a dude at his work, which was Jason at Carisbrook Crash. He's got an excellent dude down there who done an amazing job. This car had dents in every panel, from shopping trolleys to kids and tools in the boot, putting big dents on the quarters. And he has got the car 100%, 110% better than I intended. It was quite bad. Looked good in pictures, but in certain light, I hated it. So I'm happy with that. The car's still dirty. I'm probably going to just wash it, and if I've got some spare time, which I probably won't, I'll give the car a buff. So yeah, that's another bonus. I've also got a new turbo beanie, which I have just fitted up. Raceworks unit, fitted excellent. Thanks Jamie at Raceworks for that. Yeah, he's throwing us a cup and some stickers. Got that to me in no time at all. Thanks mate. I've also got these sent out from Pro One Race Parts, Kenco, up in Queensland. I'm going to modify these and make them fit my rear control arms. And got a good mate, Todd Foley, once again, who I mentioned in the last video, supplying the shockers from his VH. He had these left over from a car, and I'm just going to try them. I won't say what poundage there are, because it's just obviously a bit of trial and error for me, and every car's a bit different. So the ones in the car at the moment are factory GM springs, and I think that they're just a little bit on the heavy side of things. So Another thing that I did want to mention is, if I did confuse people in the last video by thinking that the rear track locator was going to make the rear end separate, then sorry for that. I should have mentioned I've done mods earlier along the way to the rear control arms and the top or the upper control arms, sorry. Just changing the angles up on that. They were no good at the last Holden Nat. I was probably better off racing it on a slick, so we'll hopefully get that separating. I'll get them control arms out, do a bit of TIG welding, whack them in there and get some adjustments made, which should be 10 times better than what I was using. What else has been happening? I've also got some fresh front runner tyres. Thanks Corey at Bridgestone Golden Grove for fitting these up. Excellent job. Lisa's out in the shed tonight giving me a hand. She's just polishing my nuts. We've changed the wheels from the Steelies, ripped them off, and we'll whack the welds on and the radials. They're a little bit feathered from roll racing. They're the same ones from last year's Holden Nat, so hopefully they hold up. Give it a good skid and they should come good. Anyway, enough of the talking. Let's get into it. Engine containment tray back on, and now just whack the trans blanket back on. It's just a Ramjet SFI rated blanket. I don't run it on the street or the roll racing, obviously, because it's not using the trans brake and the temps, so we'll whack this back on there for racing, and hopefully it fits as easy as I can remember. Few hours in the shed this weekend, knocked off a few jobs leading up to Holden Nationals, nearly finished. One of the last things I wanted to do in getting it ready to race was a few more changes to the rear end. Now I just thought I'd jump under and show you I've finished. So we've got the track locator, that's all in, done, working well. I've just changed previously, since Holden Nats, which I didn't explain in the last video, I have changed the lower control arm arrangement. So this is where it was before, and I was running a Pro 9 tubular control arm, very similar to this, where pretty much, obviously, you can imagine that this used to be here, and at the same ride height, the lower control arm was pretty much almost going downhill. And I knew that it wasn't 100%, but in the lead up to the last Holden Nats, didn't really have a lot of time. It was a bit of a rush, and just ran it the way it was. And it used to really not even move at all. The top control arm angle and the bottom would just fight each other, and it'd squat a little bit like a slick car. So, also the top, I used to have it really low, and the top control arm mounts on the diff did have 2 bolt holes. and it was in the bottom one. So I've raised that up to the upper hole in an effort to make that angle on the top arm a bit more aggressive downwards. So just been doing a few measurements under the car after doing a coilover kind of conversion. TIG welded some plates onto the bottom with some adjusters, so I can adjust the height now of the car without changing to 2 or 3 different sets of springs. And that bottom bar angle now is shitloads better. I've just done a few measurements tonight, and the bar angles I'm heaps happy with. Just trying to get that anti-squat and center of gravity sorted out with the car. If you go into Google, you can look up some calculators and find a few apps to punch in some numbers. Obviously convert your millimeters over to inches, and that was the height that the car is off the ground, so subtract the height away from that and work out your bolt heights, and yeah, just some simple calculations and wheelbase measurements. And yeah, I've actually got close to 150% anti-squat now, which is excellent. Before, I reckon I had probably 40 or 60%. It was terrible. So fingers crossed for Holden Nats. This thing actually separates a bit in the rear, keeps the front on the ground, and gives us some quality ETs and miles per hour on the time slip. So looking forward to it now. What's left to do really is just put side intrusion bars back in. Just took them out, driving on the street. It's a bit of a pain in the ass to get in and out the car. They're annoying. So I whack them back in, give it a vacuum and a clean, give it a wash, and that's about it. I have fitted the belly pan, trans blanket. I need to do the tail shaft loop tomorrow night, and we're almost ready to rock. A couple of days to go and we're off. The car's sitting at a good height. Might raise it a little bit, but we'll see how we go once we get to the track, how the rear end adjustments react to the car, and yeah, I'm happy. Cheers. Well, that's another video wrap up, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Along with all these changes, you know, the converter, rear end, suspension, the track locator, some small fuel system mods. I think it's going to be a bit of a game changer now. Hopefully the car gets down and shows the results on the time slip. So once again, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for everyone's support and positive feedback. It's been great. If you're heading along to Holden Nats, come say good day. Sure, it'll be a great weekend. Thanks. See ya.